TGL went off Monday night earlier than usual. It went off at 6:30, and it was a different day than usual in terms of the scheduling for TGL. But it was sort of their biggest blockbuster match that they can have. It was Tiger against Rory. You had the likes of Kiz in there, Captain Keegan in there. You had Tom Kim with his kind of fiery personality and competitive nature on the golf course. And I would say, start to finish, it was awesome. I think it was everything that TGL could possibly hope to be. I think that we use the barometer a lot of our buddies group texts, and buddies group texts were popping off. People were loving the Tom Kim action. Kiz played infinitely better than he played the first time, which wasn't that hard to do, but he played pretty damn well under those circumstances. Tiger was hitting big shots and making putts, and everybody was kind of making putts. It was going toe to toe. It went into an overtime. So we get into a lot of the details and get into the ratings, which I don't think they were as high as they thought they were going to be. We can get into all that stuff. But my general takeaway was that I'm so happy that that exists and that I got to watch something like that on Monday night, because otherwise I don't think I would have seen Tiger Woods in alive and like signs of life since the PNC all the way up until his tournament in a couple weeks. And instead, I've seen him a couple different times. I saw Rory on a Monday night out there grinding, trying to win, talking strategy. Tom Kim was fist pumping and shushing the crowd. I'm just happy that TGL actually exists, and I kind of laugh at people that want it to be doomed, because it's similar to the Barstool Classic conversation we just had. It makes zero sense to me. It doesn't harm anybody's life, and it's just a better additive thing that exists than that it doesn't exist. That's my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. I was on the edge of my seat. People might think that this is biased reviewing of the TGL because we've done stuff with them. We have, we have jerseys in the store, and at PGA Tour Superstores, we do have collaborated merchandise, but we've been pretty honest about the good and the bad about this. One of the things that we've been harping on is that they've been victims of it not being close. They've been blowouts. We thought maybe is it the structure? Is it the way that the format is that just doesn't allow it to be tight? Because that doesn't make any sense, because it should be tight, because it's the same guys hitting the same shots, and it's a small, they're all hitting shots into the green. You'd think that pros would go shot for shot, and it just wasn't happening. And the hammer was bringing in a lot of drama of like guys were holding on to it and not taking it. And then if you had the hammer, you would just kind of win the event no matter what. So there was a lot going into this, and I thought it delivered on every single aspect that we've been asking for. The drama was there. If you go back and listen to week 1 of TGL, my first take on that was it was too much of a party aspect. You need to have guys feeling like they're hitting big shots. There was music being played in the first week where the guys were singing as they're chipping, and their tongues are coming out, and they're grabbing, and they're kind of just like, you're hitting bad shots and you're laughing. You're like, it's a ridiculous scenario for them. They're in this arena for the first time and they have no idea what they're doing. Now, all of a sudden, you fast forward to 4 weeks later, Tiger Woods versus Rory McIlroy. Every single putt felt like it was like the end of the world. You got fist bumps. You've got legitimate cheering happening from the crowd when big putts are falling. Rory is quoted saying that Tiger brought his like major kind of vibe to him, where he was like, he wanted to win. You looked across the green, and I know that's ridiculous to say because you're in a arena playing indoor simulator golf, but Tiger did have that mentality to him. The way he was walking around the greens, the way he was looking at it, he wanted to win really badly. And that's all we've ever asked of this thing. And it showed. And when it is tight, and this is the most obvious statement in sports, that when a competition is close, it's just way better to watch. I loved every single second of it, man. It was phenomenal. I gave a little ricochet shot to Kevin Kisner on Twitter because his first like putt was horrific, and then he almost didn't carry the fairway, and he almost hit it into the lava on his first swing with his 3-wood. And he looked around, and I said that every single time Kevin Kisner walks into the TGL arena, every ounce of his skill stays in the parking lot with his car. Like, he just doesn't become, he is no longer Kevin Kisner when he enters those doors. And then he turned it around. He played great in the second half, but it was just funny because he even said, like, I'm going to quit after his first swing. He looked around and said, I'm quitting the TGL. He couldn't cover any carry. It was insane. Like, he almost hit it into the lava on his first swing. And Tiger's like, what's going on with this guy? He looked at him like, are you kidding me? Get it on the green. Like, what's happening? But yeah, it was great. It was funny. It was entertaining. It was intense, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was
Yeah.
great TV.
No, I agree. And I thought they struck a good balance of fun and competition. Like we've talked about the TGL a lot, and you're never going to get Ryder Cup level of competitiveness. Like where it feels like the guys hate each other on either side, where they're not really talking. It's just very, very serious because that's how that event is. I think with the TGL, and it was perfect on Monday night where it was clearly very competitive. The scores were close, but they were also still having a good time. Like they were laughing after shots, they were high fiving. Like it's not do or die, but I like that they can put it into a gear when it is competitive where, all right, we're going to take a little bit more serious, but it's not overly serious where it feels like they're faking it. Like I thought they really struck a good balance of that throughout the whole match. And yeah, you can always tell. I would always do this with The Bachelor where when you're tweeting about it, the amount of action you get is indicative of how many people are watching. And I watched it with The Bachelor. It was really high when I first started doing it. And then as reality TV sort of shifted to streaming and The Bachelor got left behind, the tweets got less action. With TGL, everything I would tweet would get a ton of action. Now, people might argue that's bots. I have no idea. But when I'm tweeting about TGL, it's getting a ton of action, a ton of likes, a ton of retweets. And that, for a guy who just works on the internet, I know we probably talk about the numbers on the ratings, but like just from a internet user perspective, people are watching and they're interacting with tweets about the TGL, and that is a good sign. So overall, it was a huge win. I know it's Tiger, I know it's Rory. Like I don't know if you're ever going to be able to capture that magic again. I think they probably can, but it did feel like everything was perfect. It was a huge match. It was a competitive match. You had Tiger, Rory, Keegan was super into it. Tom Kim's a superstar. Like if they can hit a couple of those points every single match, this thing's going to be a success in my eyes.